just look for a problem that you think you could help or solve or improve, then there are a lot of opportunities that's gonna open up.
Welcome to our special bonus episodes where we catch up with our past guests to see how they have pivoted their lifestyles and businesses to deal with our new normal of self-quarantining. In these episodes, you will hear how remote entrepreneurs and location-independent workers are dealing with the current situation in order to thrive in an uncertain time. So sit back, relax, and get ready for some major knowledge bombs. Hey friend, have you been feeling overwhelmed looking for the right online job? Maybe you don't have enough remote skills, or maybe you have no idea how to create a killer resume that will help you stand out from the crowd. I've learned that having a community of people supporting you through this process can be the deciding factor whether you make it or break it. That's why I am so excited to share that this September, we will be opening up our doors to our remote skills membership, where we teach you incredible techniques that will help you land online gigs by learning from leading experts every single month. Our membership will provide you with the skills you need and accountability partners that will help you succeed. For more information, visit learnremoteskills.com. Again, that's learnremoteskills.com. Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here. I am really excited to be speaking with my guest again, with Kach. Hey Kach, how are you?
Hi, Debbie. I'm good, and it's been a while since our last interview. Thank you again for inviting me.
Thank you so much for doing this. I know you have been super busy with everything, and we're going to talk about that. But before we get to your amazing process and journey and how you've been surviving all of this, can you tell us about you and why you live an offbeat life?
So, my name is Kach. I'm a travel blogger, and I'm from the Philippines. And in the last 7 years, since 2013, I've been traveling around the world and visited 143 countries while working online.
It's amazing what you and your husband have been able to do, because when we first did our interview, you talked about how you and Jonathan, when you started going and traveling, you barely
Mhm.
had anything, right? Like you were doing
Yeah.
massages and you were doing all of these things. And then you figured out that you were going to start working online and you started your blog. And now it's this business that you have that has allowed you to not only travel the world, but also have a boat that you guys were traveling with, and now you have a
Yeah.
base in Montenegro. So can you tell us about that? Because you were on a boat the last time I spoke to you a few years ago, and now
Yeah.
you now you have this amazing so they have like a stone house in Montenegro that's incredible. And every time I look on social media, I'm like, oh my god, Cash is in this beautiful place. This is a great place to be in
You
right
should
now,
come visit,
especially.
okay? Next year.
I know, I'm
Yeah.
gonna take you up on that. So can you tell us on how you were able to transition from boat life, first of all, backpacking life, boat life, and
Hmm.
now you have this like incredible stone mansion in Montenegro. This is
Yeah.
incredible.
So I think the main, not secret, but like the main thing is having a short and long term goals. Like we want to live the digital nomad lifestyle, but we know that we don't want to be backpackers forever. We don't want to be, like staying in hotels and hostels forever. So like when my husband and I met while backpacking in Southeast Asia in 2013, we didn't know what we wanted to do, but I know that by age 30 I could, like, accomplish things, like, like certain things that I want to get done. And when my husband and I like started our travel blogging in 2014, we knew like our original tagline then was like from backpackers to luxury travelers. But that time we were just hitchhiking, volunteering, teaching yoga, teaching, doing massages, and like just barely have money when we arrived in South America, until we started our online business with the aim of monetizing it and making money out of it and experiencing luxury travels later on. And by 2015 and 2016, we were able to achieve that, and at the same time save up, because my husband's dream is to sail a sailboat, like be a skipper of a boat. And we were able to buy our sailboat in 2017. in Florida, and we sailed it all over, not all over the Caribbean, but like from Florida, Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, and Dominican Republic until we reached Puerto Rico, when we decided that it's about time we finally sailed the boat and, not just move, but like do something else. And by the time my husband was like turning 35 and I was like turning 31, I was like, what's next? And we have two cats, and shall we continue sailing and stuff? Thankfully, we're able to sold our boat in April 2019 and moved last year to Montenegro. And we actually just thought of moving to Europe because we lived for like 3 years in Latin America and in the Caribbean. And it's been a while since we moved to Europe, and, like be closer to his family, be closer to my family. It's easier for them to come visit us. And we thought of moving to Portugal and Spain, but then realized that Montenegro, it's easier to get a residency, and properties are more expensive compared to other destinations because it's a smaller country. But the opportunities, there's still a lot. It's like it's not yet EU, and there's so many things that you can do to maximize. And that's why we started another company when we moved here. But unfortunately, COVID happened, and of course everyone is affected. But thankfully we finally have a house and not just floating in the Caribbean.
Which is not a bad gig, and you guys did that for a while. And I love your story, Cash, and your husband,
Mhm.
because you really set out to do something and you accomplish all of them, right? And I'm pretty sure you and I came from the Philippines. It's like this is not
Mhm.
something that most people would think Filipinos do, right? We're either nurses or caregivers, like
Yeah.
what you do is like the dream come true. Not honestly, like for most people where we come from, it's like it's not even in our radar, right? So to
Yes,
to
and
see you
you
do
as a
that
popular
is
you as well as a popular podcaster, it's not really popular yet in the Philippines, and you're doing amazing job.
yeah, it's kind of amazing. That's why I love highlighting your story, Cash, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to be
Oh.
like Cash when I grow up. This is amazing. And I'm sure a lot, and you know what it is too, you have this really great base of audience, and they're so loyal to you that you're like a
Yeah.
rock star in your own right, that everyone's like, okay, we know Catch, we we
Yeah,
follow
it's
her
been a while.
journey.
Yeah. Yeah, they followed when I was still single until I adopted more and more cats. So like
They've been there throughout the whole thing. So, which is
yeah.
must be really crazy, right? When people are like, "Okay, I know everything about you, what you're what you're doing right now, like how you started."
Yeah.
So, since your business really came from traveling and you have
Hmm.
this whole company from that, how has it affected you since COVID happened? And how are you guys able to pivot and make sure that you're still
Hmm.
able to make a living from this?
Yeah. So basically, we have our two websites, and they're still like, even during the COVID, we're still making money from passive income and ads. But unlike before, our income like dropped like 80% down. But thankfully, aside from that, I was doing coaching and teaching people how to get visa. But unfortunately, of course, travel stopped. So like no one is applying for visa, and no one's doing like they're applying for American visa. Embassies are shut down and everything. But the best thing about this was I started a new company in Montenegro, which is like an immigration services in 2019, November 2019. And basically, it is for people who are looking to move to Europe, have a residency in Europe, and how can I say this? Like either buying a property or starting their business, or like working online and just hiring themselves as some self-employed. And now with the COVID situation, not that I'm saying nasty things about the government or stuff, but there are more and more people who are considering of getting another citizenship or another residency. So I had like an increased amount of people inquiring. So I didn't get a lot of clients prior to that, or like even inquiries prior to that. But because of COVID and people knowing about Montenegro and how Montenegro handled these things, then I think it's just looking at the bright side of things. It is the positive impact for me. But of course, my other side of business, it is affected. But thankfully, we're able to save up before before all of these things happened.
It's really interesting how you always learn how to pivot. Like you
Yeah.
understand what people want and then you just start new services. And that's really what I love about you, Catch, is because you are such an entrepreneur because you don't let things push you down. You're just like, okay, well, this is happening and I can't stop it from happening. So how can I change my services or at least change it for now
Hmm.
before things go back to, I don't even know what normal is after this, at least once people can
Yeah.
start traveling again. And I love that
Hmm.
about you. You're just like, okay, there's still going to be issues during this time. How can I service those
Hmm.
people who have these new pain points that I can actually give them? So that's amazing. I love when you do that, Cash.
And I was also able, actually I forgot, like from April to June, I taught like two batch of classes of like how to become a digital nomad. And I was able to grow my group to 1,500, I think, in that span. And they're asking me to do another course, but like, because now more and more Filipinos and our readers and people lost their day job, and encouraging more and more people to start working online as virtual assistants and stuff. So I did courses as well. And though compared to other college instructors, like they charge a lot. Like I was like charging 30 euro, and a lot more people like signed up, and a lot more people have changed, like in their thinking, and that, like some of them are already working online. So which is good as well. That happened during the last 2 months, because I will not be able to do that when I was traveling, because I have to do it consistently and in like 4 weeks time.
Yeah, and it's an amazing opportunity now, right? Because you and I and your husband and a lot of people like us are have been
Mm-hmm.
doing this for quite some time, and it's interesting that now this is considered what's stable, right? Now having a 9 to
Yes.
5 working in an office is not anymore. Now everyone's trying to transition to working online, which is pretty
Yeah.
amazing. Now people understand why we love this lifestyle so much, and it just showed throughout this whole thing why it's so important to be able to do this and at least have it in mind for you to do it.
Yeah. And it's like now there's more and more people listening to podcasts like yours, just to know how it is getting, like how do people do it, and that it is not like not you're not responsible if you work online, because now people are moving home based and getting like more and more part-time jobs.
Absolutely. And I love it that you also thought of that and you have a huge audience and like you were saying you have this specific niche and also a specific audience of
Mhm.
Filipinos who look to you and this is something that a lot of people want to do in that space as well. So that's amazing. So just to reiterate um for our listeners is that just make sure that you are looking at people's pain points during this time and servicing them because that's really what Cash is so great in doing is that she doesn't just say, okay, well, this sucks. I don't know what to do now. You really look at people's problems and you answer them and you
Mhm.
create income from
Yeah.
that and it doesn't matter what happens.
Yeah, I think that's the best way how to, like, like to do things, like you're doing two things at the same time. You help them, and at the same time you make money out of it. It's just like genuinely win-win situation. So like just look for a problem that you think you could help or solve or improve. Then there are a lot of opportunities that's gonna open up.
Yeah, there's so many, right? And that's, I think, what we
Mm-hmm.
need to take a look at. We have to look at the brighter side of it and see how we
Mm-hmm.
can add it onto our current business now. And this is also a great way of making you more versatile because maybe you just had one business mainstream of income and now you have to really think
Mm-hmm.
outside of the box because of what's happening in the world.
Mm-hmm, that's true. That's true. Put everything in one basket, but people would say, "Oh, I have a diverse source of income. I put in stocks, I put in here, and I put in there, but everything is affected." So I think during this time of the pandemic and during this time where everyone is, affected, I think the your asset would be like thinking of ways or like new and new thing. Like money will run out, but like if you lose ideas or lose, how can I say this? Ideas or like plans on what you could do next, then that's the end of it.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can always make money, right? There's always
Yes.
ways for you to
Mm-hmm.
make money. So you just have to be versatile and really see
Mm-hmm.
what's going to work. And it's a lot of it is just testing to make sure if it's the right way to do it. And it doesn't happen overnight. As you know, Cash, you've been at this for like what, 6, 7 years?
6 years. Yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't happen overnight, and you guys just have to understand that, Cash is doing really well right now, but you and Jonathan really struggled in the beginning, and
Yeah. We were
it
so broke. Yeah.
yeah, and I think a lot of people just take a look at where you are now and be like envious about that, but they don't really see where you guys started from. And you didn't have money coming in from anybody else. It was just you, and you brought yourself up to this point that now you have the luxury to have this incredible life for yourself.
And like, I think another technique is finding a place where you could live like a luxurious lifestyle on a budget. So that's why we're in Montenegro. Like, I don't think we could live like this in the UK, or like we could live like this in New York. So
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's really the important thing too, is where your money goes in a longer way.
Mhm.
I live in New York. Well, I have no choice right now because Aaron, he has a steady day job there. So until he can leave, then we're kind of stuck in New
Mhm.
York. But
Oh, I
hopefully,
love New York though. I love New York. If I can afford to live there, like with the lifestyle that we want, I'd live there. But no, I can't afford to live there with the lifestyle that we wanted.
well, listen,
I'll
you
just
and
visit you.
Jonathan, yes, you and Jonathan are always welcome to come to us because, we're
I
there.
know.
We'll visit each
Yeah,
other.
my last best experience was with you there, so it's good. We will come back.
I know.
We will do it again.
It was really amazing. Okay, so just a little background on what Catch is talking about. So she came to New York for only like a few days and she visited me and Esther from Local
Yes.
Adventure, and we went to a gay club, and it was like the best time we've had in like a long
It was
time.
amazing. It was amazing. You could just dance and laugh like, oh my God, it was so fun. And we weren't even drunk. We were just like
No.
having fun. We like I
Yeah.
think we only had one drink, and
Yeah.
it's amazing.
I know.
Because the company
That's
and like you guys know where to go. So I was like, oh.
it was just the best time. So we pretty much almost closed down the place, and we were just like, this is too much fun. We can't leave. So,
Oh,
Cash, I know that when the whole pandemic happened, you and Jonathan were like in two different countries. He was in the
yes.
UK and you were in Montenegro. How did that work out? Like, that must have been so hard for you to be apart from each other. And on top of that, you were still building up your house, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. So this is what happened. Like, Jonathan thankfully got like a job in architecture, industry, which used to be his work before quitting to go traveling around the world with me. So technically, like we knew that the pandemic would happen and that we are slowly seeing the impact of our ads income, our affiliate income, and other stuff. And Jonathan like got this opportunity to work in Bristol in the UK, and said, okay, why not? If this is really going to shut things down and our business will be affected, and we're in the middle of construction with a lot of bills to pay, we don't want to stop our construction. Our house is built, but we are renovating it. So he said, okay, let's just, okay, he'll accept the job. And then he flew to the UK, which we thought would only last for like 1 month or 2 months, and then he'll come back. But unexpectedly, he returned after 4 months. And I ended up like staying at home. And I still got some jobs, like still publishing articles. Because even though ads, because the traffic are low, the ads are low with the travel industry, and like there are no affiliate income because no one's booking hotels and flights, and there's still few people booking, but they're just like usually last minute. But SEO companies are doing more advertisement because there are more and more companies, like for example they have physical stores and then they move their business online. So there are more and more people like in the SEO industry who are trying to buy content and doing more marketing promotion online. So the work was still ongoing, so I was able to do that, and I was able to project manage our house while Jonathan was in the UK, and then he returned and our house was done. It's not done, but like we have another face to do, but like now the first thing where we are, like living properly, then it is already done. And he's like, okay, back to real life, and there's no more things to do. Yes.
But
It
that's a
was
good
hard,
real
like for
life that you
everyone.
have. Yeah, that
Yeah,
must have been so hard to be apart from each other for 4 months. That's crazy, but
yeah.
I'm
And
so
they, just
glad that
like
you
you, they
guys are
locked
able
down. Yeah,
to.
they did. Yeah, they also did the lockdown, so it was hard that I was not able to go outside as well. But I have cats, so I think that helped.
I know Cash is very it's she has how many cats do you have now? I know when we met you had two. So how many do you have
Yeah,
now?
I don't want to say people will think I'm a crazy cat lady, but no, when we lived on a sailboat, we have two. And when we arrive in Montenegro, there's a cat in our apartment. Like we're so afraid because we're by the road. So we adopted one. And when we moved to our village, in this villa, there are like three kittens outside, and they're so cute. So we adopted them. So now we have
Oh,
six cats.
oh my!
But
But
you
you know
don't
what?
feel them because.
Yeah, they're good. Well, you guys have a huge place, so that's
Hmm.
okay. That's
Yeah.
scary when you have like a one bedroom apartment in New York City and you have six cats. That
Oh yeah.
I'm concerned about. But you have a huge you have a huge place, so that's okay. You don't really you're not like in one room with them. That's creepy.
Yeah, yeah. They have the mountain. They can run around, and you
Exactly,
guys have
exactly.
neighbors, so you're good.
So now you guys are settling in, you're in Montenegro, and you're trying
Mm-hmm.
to get other people into this country too, huh? So, I mean, I've been looking at all
Yes.
of your pictures and
Mm-hmm.
they're so beautiful. And it's really not a huge leap because it's definitely, there's a reason why you guys fell in love with this place and decided to have your
Mm-hmm.
roots there.
I think, Debbie, you should come visit next year because if like Estonia and other European countries are being hub for digital nomads, I think some digital nomads should consider to live in Montenegro because the weather is like Greece. We have nice beaches as here. Like the lifestyle, you could rent an apartment here for 350 euro a month, and it's fully
Wow.
furnished. And electricity and water will not cost you up to 50 euro. And then you just, less than 30 minutes away from Herceg Novi is Dubrovnik Airport. It's an international hub. And Tivat Airport is also another 30 minutes, and it's an international hub for Europe too. So it's just like really good strategic location, and it's not yet EU. So the rules is not so strict compared to the other European countries, but they've been trying their best to become EU. And if you're already resident, so imagine, especially for Americans like you could only stay 90 days in Schengen, right?
Yeah.
And you could go to Montenegro for 90 days and then go to Schengen and then come back. Like it's just a really good strategic location. And we've traveled 143 countries, and we've
Wow.
decided to live here. So I think there's a reason for that. And every time people ask us why, it's just you have the water, you have the mountain, the cost of living is so low, the technicalities, residency, and stuff are easy.
Okay.
So,
Well, I'm already convinced from your photos and I've never been there.
yeah.
So we'll definitely come visit and you have to try to convince Aaron because
Check it out. Like they take a sabbatical, and we have fast internet and stuff as well.
yeah, we
So
we
come
we
over,
may
you
just do
stay with
that.
me. Just book your flight and you stay with me, and I'll host you. You know that.
Yeah, it'd be like, "Okay, Cash, okay, try to convince Aaron for us to stay here." That would be good.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's good if we do decide to move there. We already have you. We already know you, and
Mhm.
we'll know people already. So that's always good.
Yes, and there is like growing expat community. Like it's not as so like when people ask me is like what's Montenegro? Montenegro is beside Croatia, and Croatia, it's how popular it is. So think of Croatia 10 years ago, not as behind Croatia, but like raw Croatia. So that's Montenegro. It's tiny. It's a tiny country, and same coastline as Croatia, and almost the same culture. Like they understand each other with the language. So that's the only thing, we don't speak the language, but people speaks English, with us.
Yeah.
And more and more people our age, it's just so easy to navigate around, to be
That's
honest.
That's awesome. And that's one of the things that a lot of people are concerned about, right? But honestly, like you can
Mm,
get around. Most people speak English anyways. But I do have a question for you. Are you
mm.
and Jonathan trying to get your citizenship there? Do you need it in order to actually stay there for a long period of time?
No, just like in other countries, you process like a temporary residence on a yearly basis. So there are like 7 ways to get a temporary residence, like starting your own company, which is easy. You just get like a lawyer and an accountant, and they'll do that for you. And then you hire yourself as the CEO of your company. Unlike in other countries where you have to have hire three other local employees to set up a company, here you get a good lawyer and an accountant and set it up, and that's it. And after 5 years of consistently living here, then you get your permanent residence, just the same as when you live in other European countries. And after 10 years, then you get your citizenship. But we don't have plans to become citizen. We
Hmm.
just want to be a resident. And now our residency is based on our property, because if you own a house, then you can have a residency. And we just wanted to get permanent as well, hopefully in the next 5 years. But I don't want to give up my Philippine citizenship, because I'm traveling around the world and writing about being a Filipino traveler, so I can't just give it up. So I lose my audience. And my husband is British, so he's actually. But it's so funny because during this pandemic, um like before, we're always like, okay, British citizen and powerful passport, but like in the last few months it seems like being Filipino is more powerful than him. I could travel to more countries than him. And like so
See,
so
there you
now my husband
go.
just, yeah, so my husband just got back and he's processing his residency now.
That's amazing. I love how it turned, right?
Hmm.
Now the Philippine passport is better than even okay, first of all, Americans, we can't travel anywhere outside of the US. Like there's so many places we can't travel to because of what's happening here.
Yeah,
So your Filipino passport is actually ranked higher than ours right now. So
right now, yeah.
exactly. It's like kudos to you. There you go. It's all turning tides.
It's crazy, isn't it? Like, I don't know how long this would last, but it's just like, but you guys can still travel to some Caribbean countries because
Yeah.
now they're opening up. Like, you could stay up to a year, whatever you want. But it's crazy. Like, in the last few months, they locked down Montenegro and they won't allow like British citizen and other, Americans are still not allowed to enter. But it's just like Filipinos are allowed to enter. So like, that's so weird.
Mhm.
It's not. It's not.
That's kind of nice though, right? It's nice that it's like now we know what it
Yeah.
feels like. Americans know what it feels like for other people in other countries who have it so much harder.
Yes, that's true. They'll appreciate it more.
Exactly. It's like we used to have a very strong passport during this time. Not so much, guys. Not so much.
I think it's just going to be like in the next 1, 2 months.
Yeah.
Let's
So
see.
let's see what happens. But once, hopefully next year we could come visit you, Cash, and we'll see. But I do have to say it's funny because Aaron and he's planning on leaving to his work. And then because I could work remotely and he's trying to do that with his business as well. But we're
Mm-hmm.
always every time we talk about a place that we want to settle in, like the two things that we want is like we love the water and the mountains because we love hiking and we also love the sea. So we're like it has to have both because we can't just have one or the other. So when you're talking to me about Montenegro, I'm like, it has both.
Yes.
I'm like,
Yes. Like that's the reason you can go swimming in the morning and then go hiking like in the same day. And then some people like during winter they go sailing and then they go skiing because it's tiny. You could go from one end to the other end of the country in 4 hours. So
that's amazing. Does it get really cold there in the winter?
we were here and it's not as crazy cold as other places, so like maybe 7 or 8 degrees. But like I
Okay.
think February and March it became windy by the coast, but it's not too really cold that I couldn't
Yeah.
handle, because like I couldn't live in the UK for so long because I couldn't handle the cold. But like here I was just like, oh, this is so chill.
Yeah.
And by
It's just like
March
a
and April I
nice.
was wearing sleeveless. Yeah.
That's nice though. Okay, so that's good because we also hate the cold. I mean, coming from New York City, like in New York,
Yeah.
it's so cold there during the winter. We're like, we hate the cold. So yeah, We'll try to convince
I don't
Aaron
like
if
damp weather too, because here I think there's more like they call it not like maybe 300 days of sunshine. That's what they are trying to say. I don't know. I have to check it. But we moved here in June 2019 and we bought our house in October 2019. So we've seen
wow.
the weather and it's just really good. But now it's just really hot. So like 29, 30, 31 degrees right now.
Oh wow. I mean, that's beautiful because you're by the sea, so you could just go swimming if it
Yeah.
gets really hot.
You
So
just go
that's good.
swimming. Not a hard life.
Like that's good. You're all good. Oh, well, thank you so much, Cash, for speaking with us today. We really appreciate it. If our listeners want to know more about you, where can they find you?
Type twomonkeystravelgroup.com on Google or Mr. and Mrs. Howe. And you could also find us on Instagram or Facebook. And if you need tips about moving to Montenegro or living in Montenegro or becoming a digital nomad and stuff, feel free to message me on those. And you'll find my email address and social media channels.
Perfect. And I will definitely talk to you more about going and living in Montenegro soon. We're gonna come visit
Yeah,
you too.
we'll be neighbors.
I know. I'd be like, hey. Oh, well, thank you so much, Cash. We really appreciate you for being here.
Yeah, I miss you and so good to talk to you again.
Thanks so much for listening to this special bonus episode. To hear our full episodes, make sure to visit theoffbeatlife.com. Again, that's theoffbeatlife.com. Hey friend, are you looking to land a remote gig ASAP? Well, did you know that we not only have a ton of online jobs you can apply to on our site, but now we are also sending them straight to your inbox. I'm happy to announce that we will be sending our email subscribers legit online jobs every Wednesday. We have done hours of research, so you don't have to. If you want to be the first one to hear about the remote gigs we find, go to theoffbeatlife.com to subscribe.